My name's Kelsey Thrift, and I'm a junior at Foley High School. I've grown up in church. My mom has been the children's pastor there for a super long time. So ever since I can remember, I've always been there on Sundays and Wednesdays. And everybody in the church has always known me and my family. So there's always been kind of that pressure there that makes you feel like I have to hold up to a certain standard and I have to act a certain way. It was 7th grade year that things started changing in my life. There was a lot of stress and drama in my family, which had a negative effect on me. I remember I started taking my parents' prescription pills. I'd find them in my mom's dresser or underneath the bathroom counter, and I would take them, or I would bring them to school and sell them to people and trade with people, and take the pills in the bathroom and just go out through the day like that. I was in middle school, so it was sort of like everybody knew everything about everyone. So I started getting into this depression. I felt like I couldn't hold up to certain standards that people had set for me, so I set my own standards for myself. I started cutting myself and having suicidal thoughts, just like thinking that I didn't want to be there, that I wish I had a better life, just a lot of negative things. So fast forward to high school, and by this point I've rededicated my life tons of times, trying to make a better person out of myself. But now it's like high school, and I'm still dealing with depression, and I've started dealing with anxiety. And at this point I'm wondering why me? Why am I feeling this way? I didn't know why I was feeling this way, and I didn't know how to stop it. And depression is a funny thing. It's a really hard thing to go through because you're mad at yourself because you don't know why you're feeling that way, and you're mad at your friends because they don't know why you're feeling that way, and you're mad whenever your friends don't try to help you, and you're mad whenever your friends do try to help you. It's just, there's no win in this situation. And so at this point I was filling every single void in my life with weed, with alcohol, just hanging around the wrong people, occupying myself on the weekends and even on the weekdays, and I was just digging this deep hole for myself because I was filling my heart with things of the world. So at this point I remember this was the lowest point in my life. I remember I would come home every day from school and just cry, and I didn't know why I was crying, and I couldn't stop crying. This now cutting had become an everyday thing, and I was mad at myself because I couldn't stop cutting, but it was like a release, so I kept doing it. And so now it's 10th grade year, and this is again still the lowest point in my life, and I'm coming to crossover, and I'm coming to church on Wednesdays, I'm coming to church on Sundays, but I'm not feeling any different. I'm just mad at the world, I'm mad at myself. And I remember at the lowest point in my life, my depression came in waves, so this wave was about 2 months long, and it was the worst, most exhausting, and it's terrifying. It was a terrifying thing because I was in such a dark place and in such a deep hole that there was no blue skies at the end of the road, or there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't know, I didn't see anything going anywhere from this point. So last year, in about the middle of the year, I came to crossover one night, and this night was the night I was planning my suicide. So the whole night I was planning my suicide, planning what I was going to use, what I was going to do throughout the whole service. And I kept having this compulsion to leave the service, and okay, I'm going to leave now and go do it. But I stayed the entire time. And at the end of the service, Megan came up and prayed with me. And keep in mind that this is a time where we usually do the altar call, and you'll walk up to the altar. But Megan McGuire walked out and came and met me and prayed with me, and automatically, without me ever talking to her about this kind of stuff, started praying over suicidal thoughts was one of the first things she said, and she said that she cancels all suicidal thoughts and every all depression and anxiety. And I just believe that there's a reason behind that, and that I believe that there's a reason that I was planning my suicide on a Wednesday night rather than a Thursday night, and that there's a reason that I decided to come to church that night instead of just staying home. And I think that there's a reason that God spoke to Megan, and that Megan followed through and listened to God and came out and prayed with me rather than just letting the thought pass her mind. And she could have said, oh, maybe it's not true, I don't want to freak her out, what if it's like something crazy, I don't want to seem crazy. But she listened to God, and man, did I need it that night. It's crazy whenever you listen to God and you're receptive to God, and He's going to tug on your heart, and He's going to tell you these kind of things. He's going to tell you, hey, go pray with this person, or reach out to this person, or don't stay inside your box, get out of your box. And there's such a bigger reason behind those things, and once you actually follow through with those things, and you'll see the reward in the end. I know that if Megan wouldn't have been receptive to God that night, if God wouldn't have showed up in Megan's heart and in my heart that night, that I wouldn't be here today. I would have gone home and followed through with the plans that I had made.